August 2022 of the New York City Wrestling Series. Um, Recently, we kind of last show went over Jack Bruce and the cheat code that is Jack Bruce. This show is an important one because there is some people being signed away. One, I had long-term plans for. Another, um, was getting a pretty big push. They both were not present on the show tonight, but we'll have to revisit them. Let's see here, because I haven't looked at this in a while. Just to see. It's kind of crazy to me Lucas Sacramone's up there, but I haven't done anything with him, just, because it's not really that good. With just the menace end, it doesn't mean much to me. Um, yeah, so I really don't, I don't know. I don't really care when it comes to him. Diva Arner debuting tonight. You know, Kip Keenan is our new signee. Um, Got to change his render. And then, yeah, we'll go over that a little bit and go over our new signees and things like that. But let's start off the show with Hawkeye Calhoun defeating Brutus Milano. No rhyme or reason, just matching the card. Mutant gets win number 7 with Zippy Deverell. So Mutant eats. Leave Honest Frank kind of insulting Mauler and Mass Stranger as a way to kind of just start probing and prodding and kind of give them something to do. Maybe he feuds with them, maybe he splits them up, maybe brings in a tag to fight them. Just kind of probing that. We had Bull Wrecker pick up a win over Tax Taken, just kind of recovering from taking that L last week versus Mutant. We introduced Diva Arnold, and he defeats Primetime Jack Pride with a Cannonball Senton. The thing with Diva Arnold is we are going to introduce him as part of the Watchdogs. So watch out for that. Prime time, just getting him, matches and try to get him over and get him experience to get better because he is a very long-term project, but he might end up being signed away. Ooh, first time in a series. We had Sodomia event, new catchphrase that'll boost his ability microphone as he now has a go-to line. Um, the weird thing with this is I don't think it's the same as like the tribute. Nonetheless, we have like Sodomia continuing to attempt to bribe Jack Bruce, and Jack Bruce declining, just to get him something to do to interact with Jack Bruce, kind of, give us something to do with that Sodomia character, and we'll see how that develops from there. We had Original Center and House Bouncer make defense number 2 of the New York City Wrestling Series, defeating the boys from Yukon, and just a heavyweight matchup. Going 13 minutes. Sometimes, it's always fun to watch those matches that, if they're good or bad. We had Jerry Martin debut in a form of defeating Malachi Milk after his attack on him last week. So we got an unstable Jerry Martin in the company now. We had Ruby Reese Fuyoka mocking Ruby Reese backstage. The women's storytelling will very basic, and then over time I think it'll get a little more complex, much like most of our when we get week to week. But for now, pretty basic, admittedly. We had the LA Stars defeat Desert Storm and the Silencer. Just get them on the card. Not too many storylines so far, but a lot of wrap up. So we had Jack Bruce kind of saying, what? Tonight's the last match of Ryan McManus versus Austin Smooth in a cage as just a way to put a finale, put a button on this feud. Um, and we'll go over that in a minute. And then we had putting a button on the Supermassive Destroyer turning face and versus the Sinners, or not the Sinners Society, I'm thinking TCW, of the Repentance is what we've been calling them unofficially. But just kind of getting Supermassive Destroyer, that baby face push, start get behind that as we start obviously lining up for him versus Mutant and as like a matchup down the line. And then finally in our main event, we wrap up the Ryan McManus Austin Smooth um, what's it called, rivalry, with Austin Smooth defeating Ryan McManus with the Smooth Hold, making defense number 2 of his Empire title. Um, and this wasn't the original plan. Originally, I wanted to pull Ryan McManus back from the title scene, get his momentum going, and then, he'd get a final match and either he'd win or lose then. but you can tell two emissions who aren't on the card that normally would be. Davis Wayne Newton and what's his name? Ozzy Goldstein. So with them being recently signed, Davis Wayne Newton was signed by CWA, and what's his name? Ozzy Goldstein was signed by ACPW, who recently went to Medium, but they only gave him a handshake contract. But within our challenges is if you get signed by another company, you get one more show, cut ya, and then you're gone. Now, one more show they're active. I didn't realize they were pre-booked with other companies on this show. Um, so they'll be with us for one last show next week. Now remember, Ozzy Goldstein, Hawkeye Calhoun are a little bit of a beef, and then, well, actually not really. We had Ozzy Goldstein defeat Hawkeye Calhoun. So do I give Hawkeye the win back? Do I go in a different direction? Uh, and then Davis Wayne Newton, kind of upset he's not getting a title shot. He was supposed to have a title shot tonight, but yeah, obviously he didn't. Um, and I'm sorry, I was just reading that. But when it comes to the long term, do I have Davis Wayne Newton face somebody else? Like, do I have not Kip Keenan because he's a face, but do I have Sotomio defeat Davis Wayne Newton, kind of boost up his popularity or whatever is necessary? 36,000, not as many viewers. So last week we had Dominic DeGraff go up to heavyweight, trying to do something with the guy, and his star quality went up by 5. His menace went up, his stamina went up, and his power went up. Um, yep, again, just something you can do for your workers. But yeah, Davis Wayne and Ozzy Goldstein, they have one more show with us, then they join the blacklist. Um, let's do a quick rundown here. That's it. It's such a cheat code. All right, before Jack Bruce, we've doubled our money since signing Jack Bruce. That's crazy. Even with this, I mean, we still made 25,000 just from him alone. I don't know. I don't play the game to play the finance end. I think I'm using him fairly, and getting him to interact with people he needs to interact with. So let's kind of go over here, do a quick look at the roster. Ajax hasn't had a match yet. Austin Smooth, any show now, it's gonna happen. Um, he's one. I've been contemplating signing him, but it is what it is. Bruce Milano, Bull Wrecker, DWN. As you can see here, his popularity is like about mid 30s. So maybe Deaver, high 20s. He's a former RIPW champion who's not a bigger company than us. Um, Desert Storm, Dominic DeGraff, Egon, Cobra, Fuyoka, Hawkeye Calhoun, Hell's Bouncer, Hamed Mort, Jerry, Joanna, Joy. So Kip, not ready-made star, but we'll definitely get him going. But maybe we give him like a slow burn so he doesn't get signed away. Um, kind of like we kind of halted the LA Stars, and LA Star number 1 is going to middleweight. So watch out for a new lightweight to be joining the ranks here pretty soon, because I'm gonna need people. Matt Stranger is a stale gimmick. Now with him, he can play both babyface and heel, and Matt Smaller is actually better heel. So do they both turn? Do I only turn one of them? Kind of playing that up. Uh, Malachi Milk. Um, dude's the goat. What can I say? Mutant, the king of the wasteland. Original Sinner. Whew, probably top 5 popularity in the company. Ozzy, the Trader, Primetime. Primetime, it's more about the consistency and the psychology. So watch for him to find a tag team partner eventually. I think again, just long term. Ryan McManus, even though he just took 3 L's back to back to back, still very popular. Ruby, Sotomio. Sotomio's popularity hasn't really been touched. And it has actually steadily went up interacting with Jack. A little bit in some places, some not. Um, I wonder if 52 is like a cap with where we're at in like our company size. Cause that's a weird number we keep on hitting. Supermassive Destroyer. He's only 23 years old, and we've done a lot with him. Tex, Mass Mauler, Silencer, White Horse Whitaker. So right now we gotta start planning out our bottom three. So Bull Wrecker, Howland Menmort, White Horse Whitaker. Do I want them three to get? Well, Bull Wrecker I can really do without, but the boys from Yukon I really do want to save them. Um, but how I do it, I'm not sure yet. We looked at the size, we looked at merchandise, see if there's anything going on in the game world. Let me pause it while I look over that. So with every like long-term save I played, there was like a scandal of some sort. Um, I went over this before, so I'm just gonna throw it out there. Let's put in who we think is a possibility for who can be the scandal victim. Um, not the victim, whoever's gonna just have a scandal over course of our save. Um, so start putting out predictions of who you think is gonna be nice. Who's gonna find a scandal? Is it gonna be someone USPW? Is it going to be someone in let's go to here, just looking over everybody, and then I'll look over these later to kind of just figure out what I want to do. Tone gray. He is in a pretty decent tag team with Nate DeMarcus. Um, but no, like start telling me who you think is going to be a possibility of a scandal, or what scandals have you come across in the game? Cause it's going to happen, completely natural. um, for the save, and at just about every show. Before Valiant and El Hira de Mexican, I believe, were ones. Let's go to here. Head bookers. If we see any booker changes, so EML, and then 21CW, Mark Misery. So he's a worker, not giving himself a push, but his booking skill and reputation. Oof. And then CK, yeah, CK, pretty decent, pretty decent. Um, Pretty happy with that. Any new owners? Not yet. And then let's see here, new companies. So a couple new companies where we'll find a picture for them just because I'm OCD like that. And just put like random ones in there. Company news. Okay, so RIPW is changing to cartoon wrestling. XWA went out of business. A lot of companies rising in size and some companies falling. Um, let's see here. And then we don't have look at results yet. It really covers it. So let's go over here. Something I always like to do is let's just go by anywhere to higher. 75 popularity somewhere. And see if anyone sticks out for like a scandal. Okay, just looking bottom right. Oh. So RAW, it's so it's cheap. If you're ever looking like for an easy-ish save, um, does he start with you know? Yeah. Oh no, he's just training. What you could do is go to Australia and just sign away a bunch of people um, that they have. So I mean, Spiffy Standish, like honestly, it's insane. But that's it. I mean, and Alexi Robbins is the goat. Uh, one of my favorites. So maybe we get him long term. That's it. That's kind of a touch up on the game world. Um, when it comes to renders, Kip Keenan's gonna have a different one that I like a little bit more. But maybe, like I said, maybe we get a little bit slow with him and don't ever push. Kind of like what we did in Fuyoka, where haven't been just like pushing her to the moon because then she'll get signed away and then you know it is what it is. But also part of that with Fuyoka is there's nobody out there to really for her to work that has popularity that's unemployed. So that's where our rules are kind of limiting for the women's division, but it gives us room to grow down the line. That said, longer episode just while I look over to Game World, but that's it. I will talk to you guys next time. Later.